and gentlemen, what's good? We're back with another Bobby Reacts video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. The Season 4 patch notes have dropped, so we're going to be breaking down everything. I can already tell you guys, this is way more interesting than any of the balance changes that we've had over the last 3 seasons. Whether or not it actually does what we need for the patch notes to do is kind of a different question, but I can already tell you the meta is going to be affected in one way or another. Drop a like if you want to see more like this, and we'll hop into it. First off, we got another nerf to the MG42. This is one of the few weapons that I don't feel like is truly meta. Like, it's definitely a very solid option, but it's not really top 5 and keeps getting nerfed. I'm not mad about it, because it is a very beginner-friendly gun, but they reduced the chest and upper arm multipliers from 1.1 down to 1. That's definitely substantial, given the fact that it doesn't have the best damage output in the first place. It really is about the rate of fire, so that's something that I think will impact it pretty significantly. In the 250 round, increased the ADS time penalty by 4% and added a 8% strafe speed penalty as well. I've seen a lot of people spamming out the 250 round, so not super surprised on that. USS9 finally getting a nerf. Once again, like I said at the beginning of the video, not sure it's necessarily a nerf that's actually going to make a difference. Now, it is going to impact it in some way or another. When I say make a difference, I mean move it out of the #1 spot. The 41 round mag, the damage mag that makes it basically capable of 3-tapping anywhere on the body in the first damage phase, is getting a sizable BSA nerf. 15% BSA is nothing to scoff at. That's really going to impact it across range, which is the biggest issue with the USS9, in my opinion. There's lots of guns that can kill really fast up close. It's not like it has mind-boggling time to kill up close, but it is the fact that you can basically cross-map with it as an SMG that makes it really broken. 15% BSA penalty for that is definitely something. With that being said, if you've watched any competitive COD Mobile, the 41 round or the 41 mag is already restricted anyway, and they have no issue cross-mapping with it. So that's another thing to take into consideration. The no stock is definitely a go-to attachment for a lot of people. When using the USS9, they reduce the strafe speed from 20% to 12%. Once again, probably people are just going to move to other attachments that will give a similar upside, so I don't see that being anything that moves it out of the #1 spot. But I do think that's at least a start, given how much better the USS is than pretty much the entire rest of the meta in the game right now. Hopefully we do see more nerfs in the future, because, like I said, I'm fully anticipating that the USS is still going to be meta, but at least this is a step in the right direction. Next up, we got a nerf to the Odin. 2 attachments that are most certainly go-to attachments for the majority of players that use it. Light stock got an 8% hit flinch penalty, so probably going to need to find some alternatives, although I don't think with my current build that I even use the light stock anyway. Operator foregrip is another one that a lot of people use. The gun has a ton of vertical recoil, so they added an 8% strafe speed penalty for that. That's going to force people to build it out differently. Once again, I don't think it moves it outside the top 5. But at least quality of life change, and maybe forcing some more variety into the meta for people that play competitive. Wasn't really expecting a Type 19 nerf. It does seem like a lot of these are likely based off recommendations from CDM Pro players, as the majority of these are guns that do get used pretty regularly in CDM. Sprint to fire, or sprint speed reduced from 6.34 to 6.1. I mean, that's a pretty sizable difference. So you're going to be substantially slower, and they added an extra 2% strafe speed penalty on the accurate supported long barrel, which, once again, is usually a go-to attachment for the gun. Don't think that's going to move it around a whole lot in the meta, but definitely going to be a noticeable change. HS0405, slower rate of fire. This is one that has been completely dominant in CDM and has made its way to the rest of the region's competitive COD Mobile as well. In multiplayer, this thing is absolutely ridiculous. Slowing down the rate of fire, I think, is going to be noticeable as well, but I don't think it's going to stop people from using it. CX9, I'm assuming that's the no stock attachment. The CXFR increased hit flinch penalty from 8% to 20%. I wish they would just give normal names to the CX attachments, because I feel like that is one of the only guns in the game that has, like, just obscure, randomly named attachments that I have no idea what it's talking about. Don't think that's going to change a ton, but, you know, probably going to be noticeable to people that do use that attachment. This is one that I just don't understand at all. Man of War Thermite as it is, incredibly obnoxious. Now, I will say, the ability to run both Flak Jacket and Dauntless, or at least to run one of those two with whatever your loadout of choice is going to be, with Perk Greed added into the game, does kind of minimize the Man of War Thermite's impact. But why do we need to buff it? Like, it was already one of the most irritating things in the game. Buffing Man of War Thermite makes negative sense to me. I can't think of a possible good reason for this to happen. It's not like nobody used Man of War Thermite. Like, there's so many other things, so many other attachments, so many other unused things that could have gotten buffed. That's a 50% damage increase. And once again, obviously, it's mainly the burn damage that's obnoxious, but that's just going to further decrease the time to kill on the Man of War Thermite ammo. That doesn't make any sense to me. Negative sense. That should be reverted. That doesn't need to be implemented. Like, straight up, there's nothing good that comes from that. AK-117 is getting a buff. I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, but there's actually meaningful buffs and nerfs for both BR and MP fans in this video, with the AK-117 and BR actually getting nerfs. We'll talk about that later on. AK-117, strafe speed buff. Don't think that's going to move things a ton. ISO, movement speed, nice little quality of life. 0.22 difference is going to be probably pretty noticeable. Striker 45, ADS time reduced. That was definitely necessary because that's one of the really big downsides. It also improved the BSA. Striker 45 is basically adjacent to the GKS and the USS9, so those are all now kind of moving closer to each other. Obviously, previously it was USS, GKS, Striker. It's still going to be in that same order, but not as big of a gap between those three. QXR Enhanced Bolt. Chest multiplier increased from 1.1 to 1.2. I mean, QXR had already gotten a number of pretty solid buffs recently, so that's going to make it that much better. I believe there's like a lava-themed lucky draw with all the legendary lava skins, and I think the QXR has one of those, so that might be part of the reason. And there's a QQ9 lava skin, so that's also probably part of the reason that we're seeing that. That's a massive BSA improvement. That is actually something that I feel like could push the QQ9 close to top 10. Like a 21 down to 16 and 30 down to 25. That's close to what, 33%? I guess it's a 25% decrease or whatever, but that's definitely going to be very noticeable. And they also buffed the 10 mil 30 round reload, bullet impact from 10% up to 30%. QQ9 with a 30 round might be the way to go. I'm definitely interested to try that out next season. PPSH, sprint speed increased by 5%. That'll be nice. Tech 9, hip fire improved, 220, 130, down to 200, 110. That'll feel decent. PKM hit flinch reduced from 0.65 to 0.55. PKM was already a really solid option as well, so that's solid. Annihilator duration increased from 20 seconds to 30 seconds. I'm shocked that it lasts 20 seconds because it does not feel like that long at all. But Annihilator, I think, was moving in the direction of being underused as far as the meta of operators goes in the game, so I don't really hate that. Tac 5, energy requirement increase, bullet charge energy consumption after kill increase. I don't think there is a needed nerf to the Tac 5, but any nerf to the bullet charge is always good with me. Claw duration being increased is going to be good for players that use in competitive, because that was definitely the biggest downside before. That thing disappears in the blink of an eye. Shadowblade buff is not necessary. I don't know why we felt like we need to do that. Nerfing RCXD. I don't know if I've ever died to an RCXD. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, unlimited duration down to 60 seconds, not going to move. It's not going to really change anything. I don't know what the purpose of this was, but okay. VTOL duration increased. Why? It usually gets shot down before that anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. Gunship decreased cost. Why? I don't understand. Like, we don't need to make score streaks easier to acquire. Not necessary in my book at all. Here we go. Actually going to impact more than likely the BR meta, with the AK-117 damage profile changing from 25-24-19, 25-22-19. That 2 damage probably doesn't look like a whole lot, but more than likely going to impact that meta in some way or another. And an increase of 25% to its, I guess kind of a decrease of a 25%. It's 25% less accurate. That's the way that I'm going to phrase it. So obviously, one of the big upsides for the AK-117 is that it has more aim assist than other guns in the game, but that will more than likely impact the amount of those that you're going to see. Whenever you're playing Battle Royale, Tech 9 reduced. They keep nerfing the Tech 9, and I mainly only see BR in like clips and stuff, but I never see people using the Tech 9, so maybe it's used more than I think. M13, BSA improved, Desperado increased turret rate of fire, Trapmaster increased number of charges, 3.4 to 4.5. That doesn't sound like a good thing. Jet boost, increased active duration. Is that like is that what I think it is? Or is that a different one? I don't even know. Hacker, do people even use Hacker? Rewind, you start with 2 rewinds? That's crazy. I have a feeling Rewind's going to be meta. I don't play BR, but based on everything that I see, I have a feeling Rewind is going to be meta. Shout out to Leakers on Duty for making all this possible. I'm curious to see, especially how those meta changes look whenever they arrive. Man-of-War Thermite Man-of-War Thermite buff needs to be reverted, and QQ9 looks very interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.